much importance to what we're going to discuss today. The road leading from Ikot Ekpene to Umuahia. You will recall that sometime 2-3 years ago,
yes,
when we had the same advocacy, putting pressure on federal government to help us realize that road. I was also the chairman on that day. And from that advocacy meeting we had, at least we saw some positive things that came out of it. One was that the road was taken away from the normal budgetary federal government yearly budget allocations for the road and then given to as part of tax credit of the NMPC Limited, which we expected was going to enhance funding and speedy realization of this project. Very important to us. There's so many reasons, economic reasons. Those who can access Owerri Airport can access Uyo Airport in a very short time. Some of us who travel to Abuja very frequently, if you can't get a flight from Owerri, instead of going to Enugu, you can just take a shorter distance to Uyo Airport and fly and go and do things for our state and for the country in general. For all the market, all the economic activities that take route along that axis. And even for patients that can't get to University of Uyo Teaching Hospital, they will find it shorter if the road were to be fixed from Ibom to access medical care at Federal Medical Center Umuahia. So the reasons for the realization of this road are so many that we must continue to advocate. I want to thank Right Honorable Samuel Igbo for spearheading and sensitizing all stakeholders to continue putting pressure and making sure that we realize this road. You will recall that not too long ago, around February, sometime early this month, the Federal Executive Council, under the leadership of our President, Azubuike Tinubu, has just augmented the project with about 14-point-something billion extra. Which, that funding of federal roads, things have changed. So for them to have even said that this thing has been passed at the Federal Executive Council before assent of the appropriation of this year, we show you the importance attached to that road by the President. All we are here to appeal is that let the funding continue with the NMPC tax credit. So we are sure there will be free flow of funds for the complete reconstruction and realization of that road. It is very, very important to us. We don't want to go back to where we were when we have made a step forward. And I'm sure that must have been put into consideration by both the Ministry of Works, Federal Ministry of Works, and of course, the NMPC Limited. I'm sure that must have been put in consideration for it to have passed through the Federal Executive Council. We appeal to federal government to prioritize the continuous funding of this road because it will help everyone along this axis. People going to Lagos, every other place from that part of the country, Akwa Ibom, will all pass through that road heading to Lagos for one business activity or the other. And in the end, all these things will be for once people are wealthy and doing well, they'll pay tax to federal government, and then federal government's internally generated revenue and for Abia State internally generated revenue all increase. We're also appealing to all stakeholders across party lines, across political divide, to please continue to support the advocacy and pressure the federal government to make sure that we realize this road. It will also complement what our governor, Dr. Alex Oti, is doing in Abia. So that at the end of the day, Abia will be a beautiful place for people to come for tourism. On this note, I welcome all of you, and I'm sure you're going to get a detailed briefing by the Right Honorable Sam Onibo when he makes his remarks. Thank you and God bless everyone.
Ekpene Federal Road. All hands must be on deck. I am glad to once again rub minds with you in my usual effort to keep you abreast of the activities of the APC-led federal government to address historical developmental challenges yearning for attention in Ikwuano Umuahia North and Umuahia South Federal Constituency, Abia State, and the Southeast Zone. In July 2023, President Tinubu appointed me as the Southeast representative on the governing board of the Northeast Development Commission. As a former member of the House of Representatives who initiated some of these moves to tackle infrastructural needs of my people in my constituency, I feel obliged to always speak to issues emanating from these ongoing projects. To the glory of God, the little efforts put in within and outside my service at the National Assembly has, in most cases, yielded positive results, while in a few others, the struggle is still on. At this juncture, I wish to thank President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for approving the commencement of the construction of a federal secretariat at a Koba, Umuahia North local government area, and his push for the completion of the Gully Udonobizi, Umuahia-Ubakala Federal Road. As we gather here today, I wish to draw our attention to one of such infrastructural development projects attracted by me during my stint at the National Assembly, which is yet to be fully realized. The strategic Umuahia-Ikwuano-Ikot Ekpene Federal Road, which serves Abia-akwa, Ibom, Rivers, Cross River States, and the Cameroons, readily comes to mind here. The journey to the commencement of rehabilitation work and the eventual handover of the project to a different financier dates back to the motion I moved on the floor of the Green Chambers on 26 May 2016 on the deplorable state of the first sections of the road, especially between Ndoru Oboro village and the Okwoku community in Oboro clan, after several visits with some traditional rulers, presidents general, and youth leaders to the deplorable portions of the road. This was followed by my maiden visit on the 14th of June 2016 to the then Minister of Power, Works and Housing, His Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN. The visit resulted in a letter dated 15th June 2016 by the Honorable Minister to me, commending my dogged determination and enthusiasm to seek the good of my constituency, and also reflecting on the resolutions we reached during our discussions, including the commencement of the rehabilitation work, an effort I appreciated through my reply dated 16 June 2016. To the glory of God, one of the outcomes of the meeting was the directive to the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, to carry out palliative work on that road, particularly the Ndoru-Okwe axis, which was done between December 16, 2016 to April 2017. Knowing how pertinent the project is to my people, I invited the representative of Abia Central Senatorial District in the National Assembly, His Excellency, Distinguished Senator T.A. Orji-CON, to the flag off, which took place on December 16 at Okweukwu, Oboro. Again, following later in the inclusion of the road project in the Appropriation Act, the federal government awarded a contract for the reconstruction of the road to Heartland Nigeria Limited and Raycon and Company Nigeria Limited. The inadequate funding of the road, despite pressures on the relevant authorities, indeed led to further deterioration of the road, requiring my letters for urgent attention dated 8th and 12th March 2021, as well as 20th May 2021, to the Honorable Minister and the Managing Director of FEMA. At this juncture, I must remind us that the reconstruction of this road was almost threatened by a large gully erosion at kilometer 10, Amawom village in Oboro. This gully had already consumed fences of a number of houses, threatened many more houses, and was within 2 to 3 poles to the road. Gentlemen of the press, my Chief Liaison Officer, Evangelist Abraham Sr., who is from this community, cried out to me for urgent intervention. I wasted no time in making the case for this menace to be dealt with. The then Federal Controller of Works Abia State, Engineer Obiora, was directed to visit the site and to produce a surveyor's plan for necessary action. Today, erosion control works at this gully that once threatened the whole community and the federal road is at about 90% completion by the contractors of the project. I wrote a letter dated September 27, 2021 to the Honorable Minister on the need to transfer the funding of the reconstruction work to special intervention agencies like Sukuk Bond. To the glory of God, these efforts yielded dividend, as the federal government, via an executive order, approved the transfer of the sponsorship of the project to the NNPCL, that's NNPC Limited, leading to two separate letters dated October 28, 2021, to the Minister, Babatunde Fashola, and the coordinating engineer of the ministry, Chukwuemeka Ogbonnaya Uzo, commending their support to the approval of my earlier request. Knowing the efforts and pressures I exerted in making this new funding initiative come to a reality, the Honorable Minister, in a letter reference WR 15136/1/42, formally conveyed to me of this pleasant development that the project has been approved for funding by NNPC through the Road Tax Credit Scheme. While assuring me of the determination of the federal government in ensuring the realization of the project, he vividly acknowledged my role in the struggle and described my zeal as extraordinary. Though the target of the total reconstruction of the 51 kilometers road is yet to be fully achieved, the current rehabilitation work going on along the road is traceable to the funds released by the NNPCL. Luckily, through concerted efforts made via visit to the appropriate quarters, precisely on February 3rd, 2025, the Federal Executive Council again approved an augmentation of over 14.37 billion on that road. One beautiful fact to note at this stage is that this approval came before the annual appropriation is assented to. This clearly shows the importance President Tinubu attaches to this important economic artery. To this end, I therefore call on serving political office holders and all stakeholders to direct their energies towards ensuring that NNPCL doubles efforts in releasing more funds to enable the full realization of the project. The proposal to return the project to normal annual ministry funding will not only derail the attainments made so far, but also lead to unpleasant consequences that could lead to more suffering by motorists and commuters. We cannot forget so soon the horrible state of the first sections of this important road, which made it impassable. The current great job being done could be hastened by adding more pressure through strategic visits and lobbying by all stakeholders to see that our people smile and enjoy enhanced services on this road, which became a nightmare as a result of decades of neglect. Let me also use this opportunity to thank the NNPCL for the good job the contractors have done along the Ehimini Streams of Joy International axis and enjoying them to keep the flag flying. Once again, I thank President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his special interest in the welfare and affairs of the Southeast Zone and assure him of the desire of the people to reciprocate these gestures. In the same vein, I commend the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, for his leadership role in the establishment and inauguration of the Southeast Development Commission, which has immense potential to enhance infrastructural and human capital development in the Southeast. Similarly, I appreciate the Governor of Abia State, His Excellency Dr. Alex Oti, for the projects his government is undertaking across the state. I can't end this speech without acknowledging the current Minister of Works, His Excellency Senator David Umuahia, for his role in ensuring the proper funding of the project. Therefore, let us use this opportunity to appeal to the minister to ensure the proper award of the 16 kilometers Umuahia-Ikwuano-Ikot dualization project, which has a provision for an interchange flyover from Amachara across Abia-akwa to Osa, in line with the design and their letter of 29 July 2020. At this critical juncture, it is imperative that all hands must be on deck to support and sustain these development efforts in our Abia State and geopolitical zone. Collaboration between government institutions, stakeholders, and citizens remains key to achieving sustainable progress. I, therefore, call on the good people of Ikwuano and Umuahia, Abia State, Southeast geopolitical zones, as well as motorists using Umuahia-Ikwuano-Ikot Ekpene Federal Road, to continue cooperating with the contractors. Thank you and God bless.
When they were either in the Senate, House of Rep, House of Assembly, once they leave office, they abandon everything. But I'm surprised. Maybe because it's how you go with la village for completion of every project.
Yes, sir.
Because all here only run here. I want to thank you for all this effort. Eman Bumbo to share little before. You know, American embassy, they are joining their politics. Man, when you go politician. But as time goes on, man, that you are a village man like me,
Yes, sir.
and that you're a man that want to see things done and done properly. Abomo, a fan of Owerri Airport. Come up, a fan of Uyo Airport. I go to Abuja anywhere I want to. Anytime I want to go to Abuja, I go to Uyo. The road has been bad, yes, but it's 90% good now. I think what Ezagi was saying, Bo, when you look at from Spirits of Joy to Ihe, to Umuahia, to Kobe, all the bad.
Yes.
And I want you to please talk to the contractors. Let them see the good job they are doing to the Secretariat of Ikwuano local government. Yes. Let them come and do it here. I saw the depth of excavation they did at that side. Yeah, these people they are wrong. So I want to thank you and pray that God will continue to lead you.
Amen.
The comments of Sir Professor Azubuike. We will come to the point that a lot of effort has been put into this road. Ụfọdụ ihe anyị na-ahụ na ụfọdụ ihe anyị na-adaghị ahụ. Revaluation. But because there are some pressures coming to site and going out of site, because there are some pressures. Onyeze Kelela gị, Denkume Kelega, I took over from him as Secretary General of Oboro. I wouldn't have had any reason, if not that the President General said I should thank you. Thank you because you are still interested. Chief Charles Obonna say, no, the money poor, yeah, poor, but you are still interested. No, so I make a leg. At some point, the CLO knows that I was one of those people. And then I be critical about the slowness about the road. I know, okay. So, but today, we are seeing the efforts that have produced what we have seen. And I imagine that what we are here for is goodwill message on behalf of Ndoboro that Nankefola for by the efforts you are putting and by the attention the government is giving to you, we know. Nage finish uzo. Okabonye tori gariam. Ogage egukwisi. Just enter the road and go. So we pray that God will give you the energy to continue to think home. That God will give you the grace to continue to appreciate your own people in Ikwuano and Umuahia. You served us, but you have not left serving. So God will give you the grace to continue to serve, and He will give you the honor of a person who has served so well. So thank you so much. Ndewo.
To determine which one is better. The reason why I made that observation is that if you go through that speech, you will find that we've been on this road now for 9 years plus. I first moved motion on this road in May of 2016, and then followed it up with a visit to then Minister of Power, Works and Housing on the 14th of June 2016. And then he wrote acknowledging my visit and promising to do something about this road. In fact, because in the course of our meeting, they had to call in the coordinating engineer. The coordinating engineer is the most senior engineer in that ministry. His name is Engineer Baladan Shewi, has long retired. He called him in to come and take note because I showed him all these pictures we are talking now. Trucks, stock. Kilometers were covered of trucks. You know, we forget. There's a place where I said there, we cannot forget in a hurry.
Yeah.
Those who lived around Amawo, they will tell you that trucks used to cover 2-3 kilometers. They will park, no movement on that road. And when I showed it to the then minister, he just agreed with me there that the road needed attention. In fact, he called the coordinating engineer to come and take note. And one of the outcomes of that meeting, as I stated in this speech, was that he quickly directed that coordinating engineer to send a letter to FEMA to go and do palliative immediately. Because by that time, either Dangote or one of the trucks sank at Okwe and was covered by water. It sank that level. We used to call that place Okwe River. So that happened. That's what I referred to. It took a while. I visited in June. But the people who came to do palliative work did not come. We did the flag off there on December 16th, 2016. That's clearly 6 months. And then they worked from then to April 2017. But just as they finished with that work, a few months by the end of that 2017, the road again had gone bad. Then we started the pressure for the road to be properly awarded. And the road was awarded and we celebrated. But the contractors could not mobilize because there was no proper funding. And that funding was supposed to come from the federal ministry. I remember there was time we did the appropriation and they now put only 200 million for a job that was awarded for, I think, 13.2 billion then. So I hope you're beginning to understand why I had to do the letter, put pressure and then talk to the minister. And I want to thank him, even while he's out of office, that he listened. You recall when the students protested? That was 2021, October 4. So, while they were protesting, I'm happy that Tony mentioned there was a time he was attacking and all that. But we kept our eyes on the ball. They protested on the 4th of October, 2021. But before then, I had already gone from ministry to FEMA to get some work done, palliative, and then to move the job from the funding from the federal ministry, which was it wasn't steady. And the fact that it was not steady affected the work. So now that we have secured the favor of the federal government for the road to be under a special arrangement, in this case, NNPC, and we have seen the effect. It is because it's under NNPC. That's why they've been able to do what they've been able to do. And again, we are lucky that the federal government, under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in his wisdom, has augmented this project, still under NNPC, for 14.37 billion naira. It shows that Mr. President has extra interest in ensuring that, issues about development projects around the southeast and other places within this zone that they are actually attended to. So if you are getting such favor and the project is proceeding, it will be a problem, because I think a few stakeholders have been saying whether they should return it to the ministry and we are thinking that it's a risky gamble, because we just left that wahala to this one. So that's why I made that observation. With the intervention of NNPC, you probably can see some predictable end. You know, I can't estimate. I'm not in the federal ministry, but at least you can see work proceeding. And I want to thank Ezagui, a very, very distinguished traditional ruler. You can see his age, 94 years, for him to take the pains to come from his palace to this place. Please, I don't think we should withhold a round of applause for him. And it means that all hands must be on deck. Prof, you know him now. He's the MD of the Federal Medical School. He's been here since morning. He chaired this event at Umuahia Guest House. So you can see consistency, because this is important for us. You can see the traditional rulers. They may vlog, everybody is fully. And that's what is important. And I like your route too, yes, because it's easy. Yeah. And that's when this road is fully done, you now know the central location of Abia State, where you can move either train, whether. Yeah. I said this when I was Commissioner for Lands. Here, we can easily make it a tourist point. Tourist. You can move anywhere and be on your way. So we are praying that we'll be able to complete this road. And that's why I have thanked Mr. President, and I'm thanking him again. Because if we get this road done, and for him to concentrate and say, okay, go and do this, approve that you do augmentation, even without waiting for the budget to be assented to. Something that is worthy of recognition, commendation, and for other, leaders, emulation. So that's where we are there. So, and turning on the issue of meeting points, it's difficult. I'm not the reference I made here about flyover, at Abia-akwa and other. I followed in that one. I used to host them here or inside there when the federal ministry was coming for the survey. So I can talk about that. I can state it and document it, because I have a letter to that effect that they were going to award it. That letter dated 29th of July 2020. So they are going to award it, dualize it from there to, it's called 16 kilometers Umuahia-Ikwuano-Ikot dualization project. But in actual fact, it's supposed to terminate at Catholic Church, Amawo. That's the design. And it's supposed to have a flyover from Abia-akwa across to Osa. So these ones I can talk about it because I was part of it. And now it's difficult for me to say about the inlets that you're talking about. But you see some places, there was no flyover. But after a while, you see government say, no, we cannot continue with the traffic jam. Which is what that flyover from Abia-akwa to Osa is intended to solve. So that vehicles from Port Harcourt and Enugu and those from Owerri and Umuahia, they don't jam again at the tower. So let's keep our fingers crossed.